the Final Bosman, and on today's episode, I'm gonna be like that old guy at the end of Ratatouille who tastes that pasta and he's like, this tastes like childhood. I'm not gonna be mean anymore. Welcome to the show. I am Kyle Bosman, and let me tell you what's going on this week. Let me let you in on what's happening in the world of Kyle Bosman. I have to write a review. We'll rewind. So you may, as a longtime viewer of this show, remember a few episodes in the past where I would spend the entire episode just listing off a series of bets that I think may or may not happen in the world of video games. That sort of spun off into its own show in which I make the bets against my coworker, Michael Huber. And that gets intense, it gets high stakes. And the reason why I'm talking about that today is because of a series of misguided TGS bets. I'm now responsible for writing a review for GameTrailers.com, a site I respect, and now I have to be a part of that. Cooking Mama 5, Bon Appetit, if you're curious, that is the review I'm writing. And gosh, it's got me thinking about reviews, because on this show, I've made fun of reviews, you know what I mean? Whenever I give a game a score, it's always a goof. I don't really mean that. I think it's absurd to give a game a score. And so, now I have to pay the piper. Now I must become what I once thought was weird. Today's episode, why game reviews are weird. I should state first that I don't walk around the office telling my coworkers that they're weird. Bloodworth, you're weird for doing your job's weird, you weirdo. No, I actually have a lot of respect for the reviews process at GameTrailers.com. In fact, before I worked here, I was actually a Game Trailers fan. I would go to GameTrailers.com and wait for reviews to pop up at the top of the page and just click on it, no matter what game that is. Actually, if it was a game I wanted to buy, I wouldn't watch the review because Game Trailers was always really bad about spoilers. But if it's a game where I don't care what this is, I'll totally watch it. And then I felt like I absorbed it. It's just you sit down, click. All right, give me the story, give me the skinny, give me the lowdown, give me the knick-knack. Give me the rubber ducky. Give me the Carson Daly. Give me the whole orange. And then it's all there. You get it. Okay, I get it. I get this game. And that was the value of those reviews to me. Is not just, hey, should I buy this? It was more just, hey, I want to know what this is. No, I know Kung Fu. It's just like that, you know? I used to, with this old magazine I subscribed to called Electronic Gaming Monthly. In my formative years, I read this magazine. And the reviews here were important to me. And the way that they did it in EGM was just columns, and it'd be one long column for one reviewer, and then 3 other reviewers would get little chunks, and then each of these people would have a score on a scale of 1 to 10. That was it. I learned later that they just ripped that 100% from Famitsu, but I mean, Famitsu still does it, and they did it, and it worked. That was all the review was. And now here I am, having to write 800 words about the merits of Cooking Mama 5 Bon Appetit. Sure. This whole aside before we even started the list does transition well, because hey, that old 10-point scale, I think that's weird. Reason number 1 why game reviews are weird, the 10-point scale is weird. You look at other entertainment media, and they all use stars. Books, TV, movies, music, food. Even TVs use stars. If CNET's hey, look at this new plasma TV, 4.5 stars, all stars. Why do video games have a 10-point scale? I mean, I guess it's tradition. I guess we just kept doing that since Famitsu started doing that. But it's bizarre that that's what we associate. And I mean, people still do stars, but largely, video games exist on this 10-point scale. And I think the 10-point scale really became accepted by our society through Olympic sports. You know, I think it's a perfect gymnastics routine, that's a perfect 10. Oh, you did a sloppy long dive, you get a 7.5. And then it's okay, we get that. This is the thing though, with those Olympic sports, there was a system in place. If you did this, you get this many points. If you F that up, you reduce these many points, and then there you go. And of course, that was a little subjective still, and that's why we removed the lowest and the highest. Lowest and highest. This is a funny thing, Final Bosman shooting, I always have to reverse my thoughts. I'm going up, but on my end, it looks like a whole other thing. Anyway, Even with Olympic sports, they don't use a 10-point scale anymore. Why? Because it was too limiting. It's too hard to work within the structure of 10 points. And also, people got really caught up on getting that perfect 10. Imagine that. And here's the thing, is even if we all switched to stars, even if all video game reviews said, you know what? Kyle Bosman's right, 10 points is stupid. Let's all do stars like the other movies. That wouldn't fix anything. We'd still translate it into tens. And Metacritic would still translate it into hundreds because we like seeing a score next to a game. Oh, look at Titanfall's score. Like, it's just something we like. We like doing that. The thing I do like is Rotten Tomatoes. And here's the difference. Rotten Tomatoes does give a 100-point score to a movie. However, it's not some average of the number of stars that all of the reviewers gave it. That number is the percentage of reviewers who just liked that movie. That's it, and it works, and you see the full scale. You see 8%, and you see 50%, and you see 75%, and sometimes you see 98%, and you say, wow, that must be a pretty great movie. That's a great system. Metacritic, why can't you be more like Rotten Tomatoes? Oh, what's that? Because it's more profitable for you to make up your own numbers? Okay. No, I mean, that makes sense to me. I would do the same. Number 2, game prices are variable. So another thing those other media don't have to deal with their reviews is they all cost about the same. They're not $60, that's for sure. And they also all take up about the same amount of time. You know, movies are, variable, but pretty much, you have an idea of how long a movie is. Video games, they just run the gamut. They can be $60, they can be free on my iPhone. Why aren't you playing Angry Birds? This is 99 cents. What are you doing spending 60? No, come on, uncle. And then it's just, they also take up a different amount of time. Just like, well, this game's 3 hours? Come on, this game's 40 hours. This game's way better. It's this whole thing. And here's my issue. I think that's way stupid to get concerned about that stuff, but it's also extremely smart. You are being wise with your money if you care about how much money you spend and how much hours you get out of that. That's good. You should care about that. However, I don't think that should ever come into a game critic's mind. That should not be part of a game's critique. Because I don't know, when that game is $60 now, yes it is, but 8 months from now it'll be $15. Is it suddenly a better game? Should we change the score now it's $15? No. A game's value should never be part of its score, of looking back at this game. How great is this game? Oh, it's what? It was $80 now, and it was only 3 hours long. Man, I just spent $78 on Guitar Man, and that's a 1 hour long game. I regret none of that. That was probably the smartest money I've spent on a video game in months. Don't let that be a factor in your review, please. Number 3, video games are experiential. Experiential, boy do I dislike that word, but it is what it is. Video games, the way they are different, the way they are weird, is that my playthrough is different from your playthrough. You and I read the same book, like those are the same words on the same pages. We're listening to the same album. It's not gonna, some words aren't gonna be different. However, we're playing through a game, we're gonna die in different places. I'm gonna find a room you didn't find. You're gonna level up faster than I leveled up. It's gonna be extremely different. I'll give you a weird example. Final Fantasy VII, the end of Final Fantasy VII. I don't feel like I'm spoiling anything here. It's Cloud versus Sephiroth, just the two of them. Everything has led up to this moment. Sephiroth slashes at Cloud. Cloud's limit break fills up, and then one final cathartic Omni Slash just destroys Sephiroth, and then you are victorious, Sephiroth defeated. Except, when I finished Final Fantasy VII, I had the counter materia equipped to Cloud, which means that there is a rare chance that, if attacked, Cloud will hit back. And so what I witnessed was Sephiroth slapping at Cloud, and then Cloud slapped right back. Sephiroth fell over. Congrats, Kyle, you win. But that's just the thing. We can all play games differently, and so to assign it a number, this is the number of what this game is crazy. You think of Towerfall? If you have 3 friends, Towerfall's a 9.5. If you have 0 friends, that's a 2.4. I don't know, should we do that? And if you have 2 friends, it's probably like an 8.9. I have no idea. That is why these numbers are kooky. And then you think about glitches, you think about bugs and things. Do you remember when Skyrim, came out for PS3, and people played it, and their save files got too big, and eventually that game became nearly unplayable, and everyone said, "Didn't the reviewers see this? Who paid them not to talk about this?" The truth is, probably no reviewers played that game on PlayStation 3. Most likely, all of them played it on PC or Xbox 360. Maybe started up the PS3 version to make sure it works, but definitely did not progress that far into the PlayStation 3 version. And so again, there's like different versions. How do you score this version over this version? Do you have to play through each version to give it a score of like how great of a game it is? It's messy. It's all very, very messy. A whole slop, a messy deal to deal with. However, I do think they have value. I think there is definitely value to video game reviews. I think that they at least warn us about buying a game that may not be as entertaining as we like. And yes, our money is valuable, but our time is more valuable than anything. And so to put time into something that you wish you could have been warned against, that's powerful. They get us to comment, right? They get us riled up, reviews. I think that's also very important. I think they get us as an audience to think critically about video games. And that's only going to help video games in the long run. I think video games reviews are great. I think they're important. And scores, our human brains love scores. We love to look at a game and then get a score against it. I don't think they're going anywhere, and I would never ask them not to. I like it all. Just not excited to be a part of it. That is the episode for this week. If you would, please give a thumbs up or thumbs down below this video so we can tell with a mathematical accuracy whether this was a good or bad episode. If you're on Twitter, you can find me at Kyle Bosman. I'll be back here next Wednesday. Hope to see you then. Thanks for watching. I was thinking about, like, along this whole lines of like why video game reviews are weird. A film reviewer never has to say, this movie was this, wait for it on DVD. They never have to account for like how expensive the movie is and then give you some advice on how much money you should spend on it. That's never a case. That person is critiquing that movie alone. That's pretty nice. But anyway, that like wait for it on DVD, that got me thinking about this time I worked at Activision. I was doing QA. I was a QA tester at Activision. Playing Transformers, the first one, War for Cybertron. As an introvert, I barely talk to anyone all day long, so I would just sit there and like play the game and basically like listen to the conversations of the people around me. So one day, these two friends were talking. They were talking about X-Men Origins Wolverine, the film. And one friend comes up to the other friend and he's like, "Hey, Wolverine is coming out this weekend. Are you going to see it?" And his friend turns to him and says, "Nah, I'm gonna wait for it to come out on HBO." "Nah, I'm gonna wait for it to come out on HBO." I got a pretty good job.